Welcome to Lauren's House COVID Mental Wellness Check-In. I'm Monique Graves, and today we will be discussing self-care. That's right, taking care of yourself. Today's presenter for the parents will be none other than the founder of the She Can movement, Najma Calhoun. The She Can movement is a move that inspires girls and women all over the world to be who they are called to be. Najma was born in Buffalo, New York, and raised in Virginia. She attended Oakwood University, where she was Miss United Negro College Fund of Oakwood University from 2016 to 2018. Najma then went on to receive her master's degree in social work at Clark Atlanta University. Najma currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and works for the Wellspring Living, an organization that serves youth and women that have been sex trafficked. Hey, Najma, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Monique. So my name again is Najma Calhoun, and I am a social worker. I reside in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a foodie girl. Do I have any foodies in the building today? I am a foodie girl. I love food. So my recent foods that I have been loving are, and I know that y'all have probably the best in California, acai bowls, and I'm in love with pizza. So I know that you all probably have the best acai bowls there. But if you don't know what an acai bowl is, it's basically like a smoothie bowl with like all these different types of fruits in it, and some honey and some coconut and all these different types of things in it. And it makes me feel healthy when I eat Chick-fil-A. Do I have any Chick-fil-A lovers? I love Chick-fil-A. I love pizza, and I love acai bowls. One of my goals is to write a book. I love to just start off with just sharing more of who I am. One of my goals is to write a book. And I think that's why it's so important that we're talking about self-care today, because I've kind of been off track with that. And some of my hobbies are traveling, journaling, and reading. And then one of my fears I always like to include, I have a fear of cats. Like, I just have a fear of cats. I don't know why. I don't even know really the root of it, but that's one of my fears. So I want you to tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about you. If you're in the comment section, today I want to have fun. So if you're in the comment section, you can just put your name and where you're tuning in from. Just say, hey, and I'm tuning in from wherever you're tuning from. And then I had one more question. If you had a 1 week fully paid vacation, where would you go and what would you want to do? You can add that in the comment box. I think for me, I would want to go somewhere where there was a beach, good food, good weather, and just good sunshine. So just put me on a beach and give me some good food, and I am happy. And I ask this because when I start to think of self-care, I wanted us to start thinking about the things that we love, to start thinking about the things that we want to do. So add that in the comment box. If you had a 1 week fully paid vacation, where would you go and what would you want to do? So as you're thinking about where you would go and what you would want to do, I want to say this. I want to start off with, I don't want us to feel like, okay, I already know I don't put in a lot of self-care. That's okay. That's the whole point of this, because if I can be honest, I have not been putting in a lot of self-care either. Like, I have not been putting in a lot of self-care. I have been trying to do better in this area. So for a moment, I want you to ask you to take your guard down. Take your mommy hat off, your daddy hat off, your auntie hat, your cousin hat, your grandma hat, whichever hat it is, with all the responsibilities that you always have to tend to. And I want this short time that we are spending together to really just be about you, thinking about you, and loving on you. So first, I was looking up what are really the definitions of self-care. And these two really stood out to me. So self-care is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's health. And then there was another definition that I loved. And it said the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. So self-care is almost in a way taking time for you in stressful situations. Has anybody ever been in like some stressful situations where you feel like you've forgotten about yourself during that time? If that's been you, just put me in the comment box. I know that that's been me. And it's an active role of protecting one's own well-being. Like, I think we all can attest to this. Like, a lot of times when so many things are going on in the world and in our life, it's kind of hard to kind of practice taking care of your well-being, like your soul, your emotions, your feelings. And so today we are diving into all things self-care, how you can implement more self-care, what you can do, how you can set boundaries with self-care, and kind of just some tools to keep you going as you're just going on this course called life. So I had to first start off with this, y'all. Now, sometimes it's going to sound like I am wishing that I am like out in church, or I may say, can I get an amen, somebody, or just something. But I have to say this: life is literally no joke. And I have to start with that because literally life is no joke. Like, if we can all admit, 2020 shocked us all. First of all, it started off with all the several deaths that were happening. I don't even know if you can relate to this. You might have experienced deaths in your family, or just the different deaths going around in the world. I think the first thing that kind of shocked us all was the whole Kobe Bryant incident. Then it was like coronavirus came. Then things started shutting down. Then it was like I had to hurry up and put on my super mom hat, super dad hat. And like I said before, being the best coworker, grandma, cousin, auntie, friend, spouse, all of those different things. Then the daily changes in the world. The daily changes in the world were like, okay, one day wear one mask, the next day wear three masks. It's like, okay, what's going on? So then it's like personal stresses that you're going through. Like, can you relate? Do you feel like sometimes life is like, it's really not a joke? Like, it's like so many things are happening. Then you have family issues that may come up. You have personal things that may come up. And then it's all these different things, and you're just taking it all in, but never really taking the time to release out. So I had to put that here. Like, life is no joke. And I think that a lot of times we go through life with all these different kind of things going on, and we just need a moment to just pause and be still and just reflect on what is really going on. So if you have been feeling like lately, like, man, life lately has just been hard and it's just been stressful and I feel like I can't get a break, I want you to know that you're not alone, because a lot of people have been feeling that way recently with all the changes. And then I want you to give yourself grace for this past year, not being able to get it all right, or not being able to fully be yourself, or some days you might have been not so nice to people or not so kind, but it's like you knew at the end of the day you were just going through so much. So give yourself grace today too as you're listening to this presentation. So I wanted to also ask you this: how often do you take time with yourself with everything going on? And I mean, like, with you working, with you like being a parent, with you may being a guardian, with you may be working in the community, with you may be serving somewhere. Like, how often do you take time for yourself? And I want you to put that in the comment box. Is it often? Is it not so often? Or is it sometimes? I know that I'm going to answer, and I'm going to be transparent. And I have to say that I take time for myself sometimes. I don't do it as often as I should, but I'm learning to do that more. What about you? Often, not so often, or sometimes? Let me know in the comment box. And I also wanted to say this. So I think that it's not that we don't want to take time for ourselves. It's almost like we don't take care of ourselves because we oftentimes have so many responsibilities. And that's what I find. It's not that we don't want to take time for ourselves. It's not like that we don't want to get ourselves something nice. It's not like we don't want to have a minute where the kids aren't calling our name, or I'm not getting so many emails from work, or I have to go into work later. It's not that we don't want a week off vacation, or we don't just want time to meditate or go work out or to eat yummy food. It's not that. It's just that sometimes we have so many responsibilities that it's hard for us to take the time to actually take time for ourselves. So it's like, when can I do this? When I'm working a 9 to 5, when can I do this? I just started becoming an entrepreneur and I don't know how to manage my schedule the best way I want to as of right now. When can I do this? When I have a couple of kids, or I'm a single mom or single dad, or I'm a grandmother that's helping, or I'm a close family that's helping my family out. Like, when do I have time to do this? Like, when do I have time to take off all these hats of responsibilities so I can love on myself? And it's almost like the list goes on with our responsibilities. Sometimes it's work with all the responsibilities. If you're in school, there are a whole bunch of responsibilities. If you have kids, there's a whole bunch of responsibilities. Even in relationships, come on, somebody, it's a whole bunch of responsibility. Like, if you're helping in your community, like, that you want to help, but it's like, Lord, sometimes you just want to break. Is that true? Sometimes with your friends, it's a lot of responsibilities, with the bills, like trying to manage everything. And then the list goes on. I want you to also add to the comment box, what do you feel is one of your biggest responsibilities? What do you feel is one of your biggest responsibilities that you feel like sometimes it takes away from you taking time with yourself? I think another thing is this: we help everyone else. Y'all, I do it too. We help everyone else, but we oftentimes forget to help ourselves. Is that you? Like, you can help everyone else, from your family, starting from the youngest to the oldest, to everybody at work, giving them good advice, loving on the family, being there for a friend. Like, you're there for everyone else, but you sometimes forget that you're there. Like, you need love, you need care, you need support. And so I think that's another reason why sometimes we don't take time for self-care, or we don't have time for self-care, because we're so busy helping so many other people. And I want to say this: it's okay to help others. It's okay to serve others. It's okay to show up and be a good dad. It's okay to show up and be a good mom. It's okay to show up and be a good family member, a good friend, a good coworker. It's okay to serve. It's okay to pour into others. Like, all of those things are fine, but the key is balance. And that's what we're going to talk about. Like, how do I balance helping others, but then also pouring back into myself? So here's this illustration that I love. And my question was, as you can see on the screen, how often do you pour and how often do you fill up? So I'm going to say it just like this. I want you to look at yourself as like the cup that's full. It's the first cup, right? So it's the first cup, you're full. And that full cup actually means that you've taken time for yourself. You've done something that you've loved. You've spent quiet time with yourself. You've done things that give you joy. So you're kind of filled right now. So remember, I talked about it's balance. It's okay to help others, but it's also good to help yourself. So look at that cup, that full cup. That's you. Let's say that it's starting off at the beginning of the week and you have that full cup. But by day one, you start pouring into people at work. And so look how your cup fully goes down a little bit. It goes down a little bit because you kind of poured into someone at work, or you've poured into one of your children, or you've poured into a friend. So you already have some water already out of your cup. Then you look at cup number 3, and it's going down even more. Now you're starting to pour into your community. Now you're starting to pour into the different areas of your life where you serve. So your cup is going down a little bit more. Then look at the 4th cup. Now it's really going down. You've poured more water into, let's say, your job. Let's say something that you've been working on for a while. You've poured into that. And those things are good that you're pouring into, but you haven't gone back to cup number 1 to pour into yourself. Look at cup number 5. You're getting really low now. Like, you've poured, now it looks like almost 4 days in a row. You've poured into something else. You've poured into something else, but you haven't had time to go back and refill your cup. Now look at the 6th cup. The 6th cup is completely empty. You've poured the last 4 or 5-ish days in a row. Like, you've just poured into all these other areas. If it was your life, if it was your family, if it was your friends, if it was your coworker, you've just poured and poured and poured. And now look at that 6th cup. It is literally empty. Like there is nothing else to give. There's nothing else that you can even pour because now you're drained. Now you're tired. Now you're burnt out. Not because you, in a sense, wanted to neglect yourself. You just have a heart. You just want to show up for everyone else. You want to show up in all these areas of your life. Back to what I said earlier, you want to show up with the responsibilities that you have. And it's okay to show up, but show up as your best. Because if you look at cup number 6, you're empty now. So what do you do when you're empty? What do you do when you poured so much that now you are empty? What do you do? I have to say this. You have to start filling up your own cup. Why? Because when you fill up your own cup, look at that cup on your right. It's happy. It has a smile. It's like ready to dance. It's ready to serve again. But you have to take time to fill up your cup so you can fill up others. And I can't wait to talk about ways that you can fill up your cup. Then look at the cup on the left, like it's just filled. And it's just like standing still, like it's just at a good place. It's just filled and it's ready to go. So I want you to remember, I want you to know that like a lot of times throughout your week or throughout life, you're pouring in these other areas. But remember, sometimes your cup gets dry. And so you have to go back to your cup and you have to fill it up. And can I also say this? I don't want us to wait until our cup gets empty to do something about it. Come on, somebody. It's like sometimes we wait till our cup is empty and then it's like, okay, now I need to do something about it. When we feel that our cup is like half low, like we feel like we're getting tired or we can't do anymore, take a break. Pause from whatever you have to do. Stop whatever you have to do. Go back to something that you love. Like, what gives you joy? I think that's the question that I want to ask you. What gives you joy? What brings you at peace? What brings you at one? Like, what brings you at one with yourself? What makes you center with yourself? What makes you feel happy? Like, what is that thing that fills your cup up? Is it music? Is it sleep? Mine is sleep and resting. Is it spending time with your loved ones? Is it journaling? Is it spending time in nature? We have to find what is it that fills your cup up. Is it meditating? Is it going on a hike? Is it exercising? Is it eating good foods that give you energy? I want you to think about that one thing that fills up your own cup. And I also want you to add that in the comment box. What is the thing that fills your cup up? What is it that fuels you? What makes you excited about life? I also wanted to put this in here. Age is just a number. Can I scream that? Age is just a number. I don't care how young you are, how old you may feel. You still have goals. You still have dreams. You are still young. If you are here on this earth, that means that there is a purpose for you here on this earth, and there is a plan for you here on this earth. But you can't do those things if you don't take care of yourself. Some of us have goals and dreams that we've been holding on to for years, months, a lifetime. And we've sat those things to the side because we might have had kids, we might have had more responsibilities, but it's time to start focusing on you again. It's time to start believing in yourself again. It's time to start dreaming again. It's time to start going back to the things that make you happy. It's time to get back to self-care because you can't be the best you if you don't take care for you. I'm going to say that again. You cannot be the best you if you don't take care of you. You have to take care of yourself. You have to say, look, today I'm not going to do anything for 5 to 10 minutes. Today I'm going to say no to someone. Today, I'm going to take time to see what makes me happy. Today, I'm going to love on myself. Today, I'm going to get food that I just want to eat and I just want to splurge on. Today, I want to just rest and be still and not be on the go. That's okay. But I had to say that your age does not define anything right now. So I know you may be thinking, look, Najma, I have gotten older. I feel like I'm aging. And I don't really go back to my goals and my dreams. I don't really take time for myself because I just feel like I'm here. No, I want you to erase that today. You are here for a purpose and a reason. You are still a solution to a problem. So wherever you are right now, I just want to say, get back up. Get back up. The world is waiting on you. Get back up. Your community is waiting on you. Get back up. Your family is waiting on you. Some of you need to take care of yourself because you have generational cycles to break. So many of you need to take care of yourself because you have these goals that you need to fulfill and you need rest in order to complete the goals. Someone needs to take care of themselves because there's a book that they need to write. There's a business that they need to open. Someone needs to take care of themselves because there's a job out there that they've been wanting to apply for. You may need to take care of yourself because it's time for you to go back to school. You have to take care of you. No more taking care of others and not taking care of you. I want us to do it with balance, where we show up and we help and we take care of others, but we also take care of ourselves. Can we do that? It's okay to take care of others and to show up, but it hurts when we don't take care of ourselves because it shows up where we go. Sometimes, have you ever noticed, like sometimes you realize like today I was not as nice or kind today, but did you realize like that might have been the case because you might have just been tired or you've been going through a lot and you haven't had a moment to breathe? Like sometimes like you just need a moment to breathe. Like you need a moment to just think without no one calling your name. You need a moment to hide. Like how many of you sometimes you could just go hide from your kids or from work or from your emails or from your job and you could just have time for you. Taking care of yourself is so, so important. So you may be wondering to yourself, like, what can I even do for self-care? Like, what can I even begin with? And I'm so excited because I have this self-care wheel. I love it. I love it. I love it because the Laura Hart Times just really focuses on self-care. And I just saw this and I just fell in love with it. So the first one I want to start with is saying no. Self-care sometimes means saying no. Like, no, I can't take on any more tasks. Why? Because I can't even complete the task I got now. Come on, somebody. Saying no is actually saying yes to you. When you say no to something, sometimes you're actually saying yes to yourself. Like, yes, I can do it. Yes, I'm going to be better. Yes, I'm going to take time for myself. Yes, I'm going to be a better person. So saying no sometimes. You don't have to say yes to everything. I know sometimes we want to say yes to helping with this or helping with that. Or if the kids want to go and do something, we want to say yes. Or if the school needs help with something, we want to say yes. Or if church needs help something, we want to say yes. Or if our friends need help something, we want to say yes. But I'm telling you, self-care can be saying no because that frees you for time for yourself. So that's one way that you can start implementing more self-care. And then setting boundaries. That's another one. I wanted to start with these two because these two kind of go with each other. Saying no and then setting boundaries. Like maybe you pick a day out of the week where you really just focus on you. Maybe it's a Wednesday. And on Wednesdays now you're going to start exercising and doing something that you love. So you setting that boundary of saying, hey, on Wednesdays when someone asks you to do something, hey, no, this is the day that I spend with myself. I go and work out and I do something that I love. Set boundaries at work. Set boundaries within your family. Set boundaries within your friends. Set those boundaries because it frees you up to take care for yourself. Because like I said with the cups, if you help in all these different areas and you forget about yourself, you leave empty, you leave dry, you leave like you have no more to give. So say no and start setting boundaries. Another self-care tip sometimes is staying at home. Like not doing anything. I think some of us are so busy going and doing this and going and doing that. I know that's me. Like I sometimes feel like I'm in my car more than I'm in my home. And so sometimes staying at home can be self-care. Maybe playing soft music and having some quiet time. And that also may look like if you're staying home, if you have children, that you might find activities to keep them occupied at home so you can have some time for yourself. Another self-care tip is forgiving yourself. How How many of you just need to forgive yourself? Just put me in the comments if that's you. Forgiving yourself. I feel like sometimes we hold so much guilt and shame from maybe our past, or we're not maybe happy with the things that we're doing now in our life. And so sometimes we just beat ourselves up. But self-care can also be forgiving yourself, knowing that you are just human. You are going to make mistakes, that you are going to face things that are difficult. You are going to do things that you aren't so proud of. But the key is sometimes forgiving yourself. Self care can also look like taking a step back from a situation. Like sometimes, if things are getting chaotic or things are getting in a way that you don't want to be a part of or you don't want to be involved in, sometimes taking a step back is also very beneficial to you. Like taking a step back and removing yourself from a situation. Like if you already know, hey, I don't have the energy to even deal with this today, I can't even do it. Take a step back. Like if you know, look, that's too much for me. I can't even bear that right now. Take a step back. Like it's okay to take a step back from things. And this is another one that I love. Sometimes I think because we've been wearing these super capes for so long, it's hard to ask for help. It's hard to say, hey, I need help. Because number one, sometimes when we ask for help, we might have experienced where people didn't want to help in the past, or we might have felt like people may not want to help, but you never know. Like sometimes asking for help can give you peace because you can't do everything alone. You can't do everything by yourself. I understand you may be a single mom, a single dad, a single grandma, a single person raising kids, but it's okay to ask for help. There's resources out there. There's good people still out there that want to ask, that want to help. So maybe you might just need to seek out like good people that you could ask for help from. And I hope that good people come your way that you can ask for help. Spending time alone is also self-care. Sometimes spending time alone, I love to call it the check-in. Spending time alone with yourself to just check in on yourself. Like, how do I feel? Where am I today? What is going on with me today? Did I like what happened? Did I not like that? Do I need rest? Am I at my best right now? Spending time alone is also self-care. Do you know that this wheel that we're looking at, if you can see, none of these things even cost anything. Like self-care doesn't have to cost you, like going to buy a new car, going to get your nails done, or going to buy good, yummy food. All those things can be ways of self-care, but there's also free things that you can do to love on yourself. Spending time alone is one of those things that doesn't cost you anything. That just gives you peace. So it doesn't cost you anything. It just gives you peace. It just gives you joy to just spend time alone with yourself to just see, where am I? Also, sometimes putting yourself first. I know that that's a hard one because sometimes it's like, how do I even put myself first? When I have children, when I have a spouse, when I'm in a relationship, when I have so many responsibilities at work and in school, how do I put myself first? Sometimes you have to put yourself first. And that goes back to saying no and saying yes to you. So putting yourself first and not being ashamed of putting yourself first. Like, I think that some of us have to just be like, no, today it's about me. And I know that's hard. I know that's hard, but you have to put yourself first sometimes. And here's the other one that goes back to asking for help, asking for what you need. So not just asking for help, but being specific about what you need. Like, what is it that you need? What is it that you need help with? What does that look like for you? Like, what does help look like for you? I hope that you take a picture of this or just write some of these down, ways that you can start implementing these self-care tools. I also wanted to break it down even more by types of self-care, like types of self-care that you can implement in your life. So there's a physical type of self-care, which means sleep. How many of you rarely get sleep? Like maybe it's because of your job, maybe it's because of the kids, maybe you're worried going to sleep, maybe it's hard for you to sleep, but self-care is sleep and rest. Even if you just take a nap, or even if you say, hey, you know, the recommended hours of sleep every night is 8 hours. Maybe I'm so excited about the challenge at the end, but maybe you just say to yourself, tonight I'm getting 8 hours of rest. Or what about stretching or walking? or spending time in nature, or good nutrition, or yoga. Like, those are physical types of self-care. Like, when you work out, it gets that body moving. It makes you feel better. Like, sometimes you may not want to, but like once you're done, like, you feel better. That's physical type of self-care. How many of you have ever practiced like yoga? And like, I want to say this too. Like, sometimes I love YouTube, because sometimes you may think like, well, how do I know what to do? Am I stretching right? Or how do I know what's the proper type of yoga? YouTube. Um, Easy yoga, or good stretching exercises, or good yoga for self-care. Like, YouTube is there for you to help you. Okay, then there's emotional self-care. So that means like stress management, coping skills, compassion. The one that I really want to highlight is self-care sometimes is therapy. I know that you might have been brought up in a home where it's like, what happens here stays here. So you're really kind of closed in. You find yourself like having so many things inside of you that you just need to let out and talk about, but you're scared of trusting someone. I want to say therapy is a good tool for self-care, because it's almost like you can just get things out. You can just let it out. You can just let it off of your mind. You need someone sometime to talk to. Like therapy. I want to recommend this good plug. Psychology Today is a great resource. It's used all over the globe, where you can put in your zip code to get therapists connected to therapists that are close to you. So please don't knock therapy off one of the lists of self-care. Journaling is also a good one. If that's journaling in a notebook, or just writing down your thoughts in your phone in the note section, or taking a piece of paper and just writing. Sometimes when you put the pen to paper and just write out how you're feeling or what's going on, it just feels good. Social type of self-care, boundaries, what we talked about before, support system. Maybe we need to start just either, if it's attracting a good support system, or praying for, if you're a spiritual person, praying for a good support system, or finding a good support system. You need that social self-care. Um, Social media. Like, sometimes self-care is social, positive social media. So things that maybe encourage you or inspire you. If it's a sermon, or if it's a motivational speech, or if it's a blog, or if it's something that encourages you, or communication, like good communication, or friends sometimes can be self-care for you. If you have friends that give you energy, or if you haven't hung out with your girlfriends or guy friends in a long time, maybe you just need some time for self-care with friends. Schedule that time. There's also spiritual self-care, which we talked about, like time alone, meditation. What about a breathing exercise? Just breathing in and breathing out. What about prayer if you're a spiritual person, or nature, or a sacred space, or a quiet space? Like, sometimes you just need spiritual self-care. And then personal self-care. I love this one. Like, what are your hobbies? Have you done your hobbies lately? What if it's bowling, skating, hiking, journaling, crocheting, knitting, sewing? What is your hobby? What do you love doing? What is your creativity? What are your goals? Like, did you know that your goals can be your self-care? Your identity can be self-care. Being authentically you is self-care, because you don't have to pretend, because sometimes pretending tires you out, but being you is self-care. What about your space? When I talk about your space, it's like where you're living right now, your environment. Maybe do you need to take time to clean your space? That may give you joy. Maybe you've not been in such a great mood because your space has just been so cluttered, and maybe you just need to clean that space. What is it? What does your space look like right now? Where do you spend a lot of your time? That can also look like self-care. So maybe you need self-care in the space and where you sleep. There's financial self-care. So maybe you have been feeling like overwhelmed with saving, budgeting, and money management, and paying bills and boundaries. That can also be a self-care tool if we use it in the right way, like planning how much I will save, how much I will budget, how much I will put towards my bills, how much I will not spend on things I want and focus on the things that I really need. Also, work self-care. Like time management with work. Like you've got to turn the email off at times. I know everyone's calling your work phone. Like you have to set that boundary. Like today, after this time, I am off. And so I have to shut off my emails. I have to shut off my work phone. I have to answer during business hours. Now, sometimes, of course, there are things that come up at work. But if you're continually doing this every day and your work is interfering with your social life and your emotional life and your physical life and your spiritual life, you have to set boundaries at work. And here's another thing at work. You got to take breaks at work. Like you got to take your lunch break. You got to take that 15-minute break that they give you, even if it's walking outside, even if it's eating your lunch. Like you've got to take breaks. I want to also say, be intentional about you time. You've got to be intentional about you time. I want to say this. I want you to set aside quiet time for yourself every day. If it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, like you need time for you every single day. Remember, I called it's the you check-in. You have to check in on yourself to say, girl, am I good? Or man, am I all right today? You've got to check in with yourself. And I also want to say this, schedule a date with yourself once a month to do one of the hobbies that you love, to do something that makes you laugh, to spend time with people that give you good energy. Like you have to schedule a date with yourself once a month. Scratch the one that I just said about spending time with people that make you laugh, because that's not just with yourself. Schedule that for another weekend. But I want you to be intentional about doing a date with yourself once a month. Maybe going to the movies, going to the gym, going to spend time in nature. Like just spending time with yourself at least once a month on a date. So here's a challenge that I have for us. Are you in? I guess that's the first thing I want to ask you. I know challenges is like, ooh, but this is a challenge that I want us to do. So it's 4 different things, and I hope you can just at least pick one challenge that you want to pick. Let me know in the comment box which one you'll pick. But the first one is you can choose maintain uninterrupted sleep for 8 hours each week. So you can pick 8 nights in the month that you will sleep for 8 hours. Do you need more rest? That's the challenge for you. Challenge number 2, stay away from toxic thoughts, toxic people, and toxic conversations. Do you feel like lately some of the people you may be around or conversations that you've been around have been toxic and negative? It's going to be self-care for you to step away from those things and take time for you. Is that the challenge that you need? Or do you need the self-care challenge of practicing mindfulness or meditation on a daily basis? Is that what you need? Like, do you need to just be center with yourself? Do you need meditation? Do you need breathing exercises? Do you just need to practice mindfulness on a daily basis? Then that's the challenge for you. Or is it engaging in positive thoughts and conversations? Like, do you just feel like I want to engage in positive thoughts and conversations? Then that's the challenge for you. And I want you to try whichever challenge it is for 8 days. So pick the one that you want to do and let me know in the comment box which one you're choosing. I'm coming on out and I want to see if there are any questions about the presentation, anything that you can think of, any questions about what you want to do for the self-care challenge. I'm so excited and I am so happy that you all joined me for a little bit. This has been great because this is something that I want to work on, self-care. Like that is something that I want to work on, implementing more self-care, because when we rest, we are our best, and rest includes self-care. So I hope that this was good for you. I hope that you just know that you are worth self-care. You are worth just you taking time for you. You're worth it. I'm getting so excited just thinking about that because I think a lot of times we forget about our worth, but you are worth it. Take time for you. You have goals, you have dreams that you want to accomplish, and it's time that you take the time for you so you can get those things done. So like I said before, get back up again. Like give yourself another chance. I love the comment that's here. Thank you for reminding me to forgive myself. Yes, forgive yourself. Love on yourself. Be there for yourself. You only get one you. So give yourself the best you. You only get one you, so give yourself the best you. I am so thankful again for this opportunity. I'm so thankful for Monique and her team for allowing me to be here. And if there are any questions, I'm here to answer any. So Miss Monique, just let me know if there are any questions. But if not, I hope that we can stay connected. There was a part on my PowerPoint that I wanted you all to see where we can stay connected. So I'm going to put that back up. I'm going to share my screen one more time. And so we can stay connected, because I definitely want us to stay connected. And you might have a question like later that might come up for you. And so I wanted to put this up. So this is just, we can get connected on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You might think of a question after this presentation, and you may be thinking, okay, I have a question. Email it to me. Let's chat, because I want us to hold each other accountable. We both have to implement more self-care. It's not just you, it's me too, trust me. So let's connect on social media, let's connect via email, and always let's just encourage one another to implement self-care. So screenshot this, and let's just stay connected. And so I'm going to come back out, and I'm going to stop presenting, and I'm back here. Miss Monique, let me know if there's any questions, but I'm just so honored that I was able to be here, and I truly, truly enjoyed it. Bye. Bye, everyone.